You may be busy every day, but are you actually living, or just filling time until it runs out? Seneca warned us. It's not that life is short, but that we waste too much of it without knowing. What if the real thief of your time isn't distraction or failure, but your own lack of clarity? Lucius Annaeus Seneca was one of the most powerful men in the Roman Empire. A Stoic philosopher, and an advisor to emperors. He lived in a world of politics, ambition, betrayal, and wealth, and yet, when he sat down to write, his message was simple and urgent. People are not dying because life is short, they are dying because they waste it. His essay on the shortness of life is not a complaint about death. It is a wake-up call to life. In it, Seneca writes, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Life is long enough, and it has been given in sufficient measure to accomplish the greatest things. If the whole of it is well invested, in other words, the problem is not time, it is how we use it." Seneca saw clearly what so many people miss, that most lives are spent not in deliberate action, but in passive consumption. People drift. They chase busyness, not purpose. They fill their days with obligations, distractions, appearances. They complain of having no time, while giving it away to meaningless habits. They do not live, they rehearse. He warned that people guard their money more than their time. They panic over lost wealth, but give their hours away without thought. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. He wrote, "We plan as if we will live forever. We delay what matters. We say, later, to what needs us now. And then we are shocked when life passes us by." But Seneca did not write to shame. He wrote to empower. He believed that if we could become aware of time, if we could treat it as our most precious resource, we could live with depth, intention, and peace. He did not preach urgency for its own sake. He taught clarity, to know what you are living for, to know what truly deserves your time, and to have the strength to let go of everything else. He spoke about the difference between living and merely existing. Many people, he said, are technically alive but spiritually absent. They go through the motions. They follow the script, but their hearts are not in it. Their minds are not present. Their actions are not chosen. They are inherited. And so, they age without growing. They move without becoming. Seneca wanted us to understand that time is not something we own. It is something we spend. And every day, we make choices, conscious or not, about where it goes. We either give our time to what aligns with our values, or we surrender it to what steals our attention. But unlike money or status, time once spent is never regained. That is why it must be lived with reverence. His Stoic view of time was not about productivity hacks or schedules. It was about philosophy, about the soul. He wanted us to be free, not just from poverty or pain, but from confusion, from wasting the one thing we cannot get back. Because once you truly see time for what it is, you begin to see life itself more clearly, not as something to manage, but something to cherish. Seneca's warning was not just about obvious time wasters. He was not merely concerned with laziness or distraction. What truly alarmed him were the subtle enemies of time, the things that look productive on the surface but steal your life from underneath. He saw people staying busy, keeping calendars full, attending meetings, performing roles, and thought, "This is the worst kind of waste, because it feels like living, while silently draining your essence." He wrote that people are frugal in guarding their property, but when it comes to time, they are most wasteful. They will not allow a stranger to touch their house or car, but they will let strangers, bosses, gossip, and shallow ambitions rob their years. Not by force, but by invitation. They do not lose time. They hand it over. One of the greatest enemies of time, according to Seneca, is living for others' expectations. Trying to impress, trying to please, trying to win approval from people who do not even understand your soul. He warned that people often live someone else's life, spending years chasing goals they never chose, fitting into roles they never questioned, and by the time they awaken, their time is gone. Another silent thief is regret. Seneca believed that dwelling on the past is just another form of wasting the present. He acknowledged that pain and mistakes are real, but he urged us not to feed them with our future. What is past, he said, is outside our control and should not disturb our peace. You cannot live well if your mind is stuck in yesterday. Forgiveness, acceptance, and release are not just moral ideas. They are acts of time preservation. He also spoke fiercely about fear. Fear of failure, fear of death, fear of what others might think. These fears, he said, paralyze action. They make you hesitate. They make you delay what you know is right. They keep you in rehearsals, in planning, in waiting, for a perfect moment that never comes. And every time you wait, time slips by. But perhaps the most seductive enemy of time is distraction. Seneca would be stunned by the world today. Infinite scroll, constant notifications, the addiction to urgency, the idea that if you are not responding instantly, you are falling behind. He saw the beginning of this in Rome: noise, crowds, theater. But today, it is inside our pockets, our homes, our minds. He would ask, are you ever truly alone with yourself? Are your thoughts your own? Or are they echoes of algorithms and trends? When you look at your day, how much of it was yours, by choice, by clarity, by value? To protect your time, Seneca said, is to protect your soul. That does not mean cutting everything off. It means living awake, choosing your commitments carefully, saying no more often, practicing solitude, not as escape, but as grounding, and measuring the value of things not by how loud or urgent they seem, but by how deeply they align with who you want to become. He taught that we must live as if we are dying, not in fear, but in focus, not to panic, but to prioritize. If you knew your days were limited, what would fall away? What would suddenly seem unworthy of your energy? Why wait for that moment to decide? The answer, Seneca believed, is to begin now, to reclaim your hours, to turn away from the invisible thieves, to realize that living wisely is not about adding more, but about guarding better. Seneca did not offer complicated rules for time management. He offered something far more powerful, a mindset of reverence. He wanted us to see time not as a tool, but as a sacred trust, something to hold carefully, spend wisely, and never take for granted. Because each day you live is not just a number on a calendar. It is a piece of your life, a piece that will never return. His advice was clear: live deliberately. This means being present with what you are doing, whether it is reading, walking, talking to a friend, or sitting in silence. Do it with attention. Do it with care. Do it as if it matters, because it does. Every moment you truly live is a victory against waste. Seneca believed that philosophy was not something to study, it was something to live. He did not want to impress people with ideas. He wanted to change lives through awareness. And time, he believed, is where philosophy meets practice. Because if you are not living with intention, then you are not truly free. You are just reacting, drifting, surviving. To reclaim your time, you must first reclaim your values. What do you stand for? What do you want your life to mean? What kind of person do you want to be when your days come to an end? Seneca teaches us that the answers to these questions are not found in distant dreams. They are revealed in how you use today. He urged us to make peace with limits, not to fight against time, but to work with it, to understand that life is not about doing everything, it is about doing the right things. About doing less, but with more soul. He wrote, "Life is long if you know how to use it," which means the tragedy is not that life ends. The tragedy is that we never fully begin it. This is why Seneca praised solitude, not as withdrawal, but as space for clarity. He encouraged reflection, quiet, study, and simplicity, not because he was against action, but because he wanted action to be meaningful. In a noisy world, stillness becomes strength. In a rushed world, calm becomes rebellion. He also believed in generosity, not just with money, but with attention. When you give someone your time, you give them a part of your life. So give it with presence, with honesty, with care, and do not give it to people or pursuits that drain your spirit. To live like Seneca is not to live in fear of time. It is to live in awe of it. To wake up each day knowing it is a gift. To treat your time as more valuable than gold. Because it is. You can earn back money. You can rebuild status. But you cannot reclaim a wasted year, or a forgotten moment, or a chance never taken. So ask yourself, what would it look like to live as if every hour counted? What would you stop doing? What would you begin? Seneca's answer was simple: begin now. Not when the timing is perfect. Not when others understand. Begin now, because now is all you truly have. Thank you for walking with us through the wisdom of Seneca and the power of reclaiming your time. His words are not just philosophy. They are a mirror, a challenge, a call to live less by habit and more by heart. So here's a question for you. What is one thing you know is wasting your time? And what will you choose instead? Share your reflections in the comments. Your story might be the spark someone else needs. And if this message helped you pause, helped you reflect, or helped you feel more awake in your life, we invite you to like, subscribe, and stay with us here on the Life Philosophy channel. Because here, we do not chase time. We honor it, we live it, we protect it, together. Until next time, stay present, stay clear, and make your moments matter.